Oh, shoot. What? Kirk Cousins is a Falcon? The Steelers got who? Saquon? What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Fanatics Eye. If you didn't know, this has probably been the craziest 48 hours in the NFL that we've seen in a long time. It's definitely the craziest 48 hours I've seen, from trades to massive free agency contracts to shockingly low contracts, the whole shebang. So we're gonna cover everything from the contract values to what I grade the move for each team on both ends, and how well that player fits, and more. And I mean, we're talking Kirk Cousins is a Falcon, Derrick Henry is a Baltimore Raven. Just some wild stuff, and there's so much more. You'd think it would end there or close there, but it's not even close. I mean, it's like it never ends. And there's probably gonna be even more moves just while I'm talking, making this video right now. So let's get into it. We're gonna cover everything, like I said, from contract values to how well each player fits on each team. Let's get into it. It's gonna be a good one. All right, first move let's talk about is Saquon Barkley moving to the Philadelphia Eagles. And the reason I want to do this one first is because this is surprising a lot of people, but it really shouldn't, because the Giants and Saquon Barkley have been trying to work out a deal for several years, ever since he got off his rookie contract, and they just haven't been able to. They franchise tagged him, just not paid him what he's worth. And so in free agency, when he had an opportunity to go somewhere that was going to pay him what he felt he was worth and what he really is worth, because, I mean, let's be honest, he's an elite top 5 running back in the league. And for the last however long he's been in the league, he has been a top performing running back. And I know he's been riddled with injuries throughout his career, but even if he only plays 8 games a season, he makes your team significantly better. Just look what he did with the New York Giants. If he plays a full season, he can make Daniel Jones look like a $40 million quarterback. Absolutely ridiculous. So the fact that he left New York shouldn't surprise anybody. But the fact that he went to Philadelphia, that should be surprising, because the Giants hate the Philadelphia Eagles. But let's be honest, I mean, he's going on a 3-year, $37 million contract. That's big time, and that's what he wanted. And so, I mean, that's where the money was. And almost any athlete is going to go where the money is, no matter what team it is. Okay, let's talk our first trade of the day. Joe Mixon was traded to the Houston Texans for an undisclosed pick, probably like a 2nd or 3rd rounder. This blew my mind. I knew there was talks of him leaving Cincinnati, but I didn't think they were legit. I thought there was no way Cincinnati is going to let this good of a running back just slip through their hands. And he's coming off his 4th 1,000+ yard rushing season. He ran for 9 touchdowns last season, and he's one of the most versatile backs in the league. I thought there was no way they would get rid of him, but they did, for probably a 2nd or 3rd round draft pick, because let's be honest, running backs don't go for that much when we're talking draft picks, which is crazy to me, because the running back is one of the most important positions in the NFL, and they're way undervalued. But regardless, the Texans were missing one piece last season, and it was a good running back. Now, don't get me wrong, Devin Singletary was all right, but he didn't even run for 900 yards, and he only ran for 4 touchdowns. So, great pickup for Houston. Let's move on. On my way over to Little Caesars for lunch, let's talk about Kirk Cousins. Now, he went over to the Atlanta Falcons. How much does this really affect Atlanta? They've got a good wide receiver core, a decent offensive line. Bijan Robinson is a beast, and the defense is pretty lackluster. So, I mean, how much does this really affect them? Some people are saying this might make them Super Bowl contenders. I just don't think it does. Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback, and I love the guy. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. But let's be honest, how does he keep getting these massive contract deals? I mean, he's one of the most paid players in NFL history, and he only has a singular playoff win. I'm pretty sure he's only behind a few players, and those players are Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Matthew Stafford, when it comes to what they've been paid already over the course of their career. I'm pretty sure those are the only ones that are in front of him, which is crazy because they all have several playoff wins, and some of them have and all of them have Super Bowl wins. And Kirk has won. He's won one playoff game his entire career. Now, he's a really good quarterback, and I think he's probably a top 15 in the league, maybe a little better. He's an above-average quarterback. How well does he fit in Atlanta? And to be honest, I think he fits pretty good. Kyle Pitts is a beast, okay? And over the last 2 years, he hasn't really shown it, but he has the potential to be a top tight end in the league. He's a tight end who plays like a wide receiver, and to me, he has shown a lot of glimpses of being similar to a Travis Kelce type player. He's not a great blocker, but he's super athletic, super fast, tall, and plays like a receiver. Their defense is pretty lackluster though, so unless they can patch that up and fix their defense, I just don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon, even with Kirk Cousins. And the other thing I would say is I think this is kind of a bad pickup, to be honest, because they had Justin Fields waiting in the wings. Justin Fields had connections to Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and Las Vegas. None of them picked him up, which was shocking to me. He's a young, talented, super good quarterback, and nobody picked him up. And I thought the Falcons would for sure if the Steelers didn't. I think they should have picked up Justin Fields. He's younger, he's faster, just everything. He's more healthy. Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles tear. So I think that if I had to grade this pick, I would grade it around. Next up, we're talking Derrick Henry to the Baltimore Ravens. So Derrick Henry, he's now a Baltimore Raven. And I mean, this wasn't really surprising to me because I'm pretty sure everyone knew Derrick Henry was leaving Tennessee after his dramatic Instagram post at the end of the season. And Baltimore was like number one on the list of where we all expect him to go. A run-heavy team who has pretty much been short a running back for a long time. They've never really had an amazing running back. They've had a good run game, mostly due to Lamar Jackson, but never a bell cow running back. And Derrick Henry can be that guy now. And with as run-heavy as a team as they are going to knock the AFC out of the park. I mean, this should be a slam dunk for them, the Super Bowl. I mean, just unreal. They have a stacked roster, but they did lose a major piece on the defensive end, which we will talk to later in this video. But adding Derrick Henry, being already a run-heavy team, and even though they're a run-heavy team, they're not nearly as run-heavy as Tennessee was. And Derrick Henry is not going to have nearly as much load on his shoulders as he did in Tennessee. The Ravens don't need to rely on Derrick Henry. They have very clearly proven that Lamar Jackson is his own man, and he doesn't need anybody to carry him on his back, unlike quarterbacks that Derrick Henry has played for. Now, we're going to move this along a little quicker. We're kind of taking a long time each one. So I'm going to talk less about each person so that we can get to all of them. Because like I said, there are tons of trades and free agency signings that happen. So next, let's move on to my very own Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay? 2 massive deals. The Steelers are not known for making free agent moves and trading for big-time players. Okay? Almost everyone on their team who's good has been drafted. Joey Porter, drafted. TJ Watt, drafted. Cameron Hayward, drafted. Najee Harris, drafted. Kenny Pickett, drafted. Pat Freiermuth, drafted. George Pickens, drafted. All around the horn. Minus, like, Minkah Fitzpatrick. That's it. And in the first 2 days, they have 2 massive signings. Russell Wilson, who they signed to a bare minimum contract. They're only paying him about $1 million as opposed to the Broncos paying him like $38 million not to play for them, which is ridiculous. And Russell Wilson is definitely a step above Kenny Pickett. Let's not get that twisted. And they're paying him significantly less than they really should be. So I would say that's a pretty good move. But even better, Patrick Queen. That Steelers defense is absolutely star-studded. From Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt terrorizing the quarterbacks to the interior defensive linemen and Cameron Hayward and the boys. And the secondary with Joey Porter and Minka Fitzpatrick, just dogs all around on the defense. And now you add Patrick Queen, an all-pro? Unreal how good this defensive unit is going to be next year. And Mike Tomlin is making some huge moves, which he's not really known for. So I'm excited for the Pittsburgh Steelers this upcoming season. All right, Jerry Jeudy to the Cleveland Browns. The fact that Jerry Jeudy left shouldn't really surprise anyone. He's been pretty, not really outspokenly, but body language-wise, you can tell he was not a fan of being in Denver, at least while Russ was there. So it was only a matter of time before he left. I thought it would take him until free agency to leave, but apparently they traded him. So he's in Cleveland now, and I think that's a great pickup for them because now they've got another, I don't know if I'd call him a star receiver, a borderline star receiver to help free up some space for Amari Cooper, because Amari Cooper was getting double teamed like all season last year because they didn't have a really solidified wide receiver too, and now they do in Jerry Jeudy. So that's a perfect fit for Jerry Jeudy. I think that's the best place he could have gone, or one of the best places he could have gone, and it just makes the AFC North that much better. All right, the last two we're talking about. Brian Burns is now a New York Giant, and Gardner Minshew is a Las Vegas Raider. So, how do these two players impact their teams? To be honest, I don't think they impact them very much, if at all. Brian Burns is a good player, but man, the New York Giants, that's not what they need. They needed to keep Saquon Barkley, and they need a better quarterback, and they need better receivers. They don't need defense. Their defense is pretty okay for the most part. Adding a Brian Burns is not going to affect you that much. It is not really going to give you wins. You might get a few more sacks over the course of the year, but it's not going to help you win games. Like I say, Brian Burns is a great player, but on a Giants team that doesn't have a good offense at all, now they have no running back, no wide receivers, a pretty horrible offense, and a bad quarterback. It's just a bad position for him to be in. I kind of feel bad for him, to be honest. The Giants are they're the laughingstock of the NFL. They had one fluke season that Saquon Barkley carried their entire team through to get to the playoffs and win a playoff game, which was incredible. But now he's not there. So who's going to carry you now? Because Brian Burns is good, but he ain't no TJ Watt. Now let's talk Gardner Minshew. The Las Vegas Raiders made a huge mistake not taking Justin Fields. And I will say this so many times. The Steelers, Raiders, and Falcons made huge mistakes not taking Justin Fields. People do not understand how high his ceiling is. And Gardner Minshew can only take you so far. You had Aiden O'Connell, who was pretty solid for the entire time he played last year. I don't understand that pickup. So two pretty weird picks, in my opinion. Brian Burns made no sense to me, and probably the worst picks on this list, to be honest. They're just not good. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, thank you for watching till the end of the video. Leave a like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next video. Peace out.